Hello there, and welcome back to another reaction video. Today we're taking a look at a film from Jet Li's bibliography. As today we look at the film entitled Fearless. Released in 2006. I've not actually seen Fearless, the full film, as of yet. So I'm interested to see in isolation what these fight scenes are like. And this is Jet Li, of course. He has a very illustrative film career, so already I'm imagining that these fight scenes are going to be real good. So actually I do have the sort of the elevator premise of what this film is. After going through a series of tragic events in his life, martial arts master Hyo Yuanjia returns to Tianjin and must fight 4 international soldiers in order to safeguard his nation's pride. And I suppose where the fearless part comes in is that he has to fight all these people and not show any fear while doing it, or maybe he has to come to terms with his fear throughout the process of fighting all these guys. But overall, let's see what we're dealing with here. So this first fight scene is Jet Li versus Nakamura Shido. So I'm imagining this is like a Japanese master, probably a samurai type deal. Okay, this is gonna be interesting. Oh, free section stuff. You never see that these days. You never see that in fight scenes. It's underrated. It's got the benefits of the bow staff and nunchucks all in one. So already there is so much to comment on. I am just imagining the level of control you need for the free section stuff. Because imagine you have the reach advantage, but then you have to make sure to control that. So imagine with like a nunchuck, if I go back a few seconds to see where he's gripping it. It looks as though he's controlling it more because he's holding it closer to the chain. Close to where the sectioning is. And when you use nunchucks, especially when you're a beginner with them, you're told to grip them closer to the chain, or closer to where the separation is for better control. And then as you gain more mastery over them, you widen out your grip a bit more. It's also fun with the sword as well. Just seeing how fast the sword movements are as well are really fun. Oh! Let's see what happened there. A spin around, a body spin that you would do for a bow staff. Cool. I think I've done that before actually. It's fun doing those around the body. It feels so awesome doing those. Oh! So he blocked the middle section. It looks as though he blocked the middle section, but the final section of it, it just reached over and got him on the back. But because the energy was probably dissipated by blocking the middle section, it probably didn't hurt that much, it probably just bruised a bit. And as he just uses it like a club, very good. That sword would have already be blunted. Like swords like that, like a katana like that would already be so blunt. So basically then he just used it like a chain whip. So using more of that chain whip training as well. I'm not actually trained to use the chain whip, but I'd love to learn to use it. Just at least the beginner level stuff, because I think that would come in so handy. So he's closed the gap, so he's realised, the Japanese guy, he's realised that the distance is too great, so he needs to get in closer. Oh, they've swapped. You can't acknowledge how adept fighters are in their own right. And it's fun how Lee's character, he uses the katana more like a Dian sword. That's fun. And then let's see what this guy is like. Because he's now showcased that he does still have a good level of like athleticism to dodge all the weapons had to dodge all the attacks and such.
You'll get it.
I mean, don't you just love it when martial arts can just be like that, when you can just have respect between different styles and different techniques? That's... You never see that anymore. Ooh, interesting. So now we've got more of a twin broadsword sort of style here. So is that a draw, or is that... Because they both had their blades, or their weapons at each other's throats, so is that a draw? It's always fun having fight scenes like this, which showcase the comparison and the contrast between different styles, respect for both fighters, and at the end, just a mutual understanding of, yeah, we each are masters in our own right. I show respect to you. That is... It's always nice seeing those. Let's see about one more. So it's two spears having at it. The English chap's staff looks, or spear, excuse me, it looks longer than the other one is.
Mine are bigger than yours.
Throwing body shots like he's Rocky Balboa. Going upstairs like he's Apollo Creed.
Rationally, that doesn't make any sense. You take away the advantage you had. But I suppose then, it forces your opponent then to have to change up their style. But then it makes it easier as well for your opponents to just do what they've already been doing. No, that doesn't make sense. This guy's just an idiot.
Sometimes my genius is... it's almost frightening.
Yeah, now you've just given this guy the advantage. What are you doing, mate? Yeah, this chap's just a clown.
Know your place, trash!
Okay. Two swords at it, so it's like a rapier versus... Yeah. I'm interested to see, actually, if someone took... Maybe I should. If I took more of a Western-style sword, like a rapier, or maybe even a Templar sword, see how I'd be able to translate the Gian or Del stylings, or my training with those, to those. Ooh. Should I do it? How much are Templar swords these days? £90? 89.99? Should I? No, don't do it. You don't need it. You don't need it, Lewis. You don't need it. You don't need it. Close the tab. Close the tab. So is that, I suppose, where the fearless thing comes from with the name? It's more of like a stoicism sort of thing of having no fear in the face of what you're coming up against. Yeah, because being fearless is very different from being brave. Bravery is confronting that fear and doing the things you need to do anyway. But being fearless doesn't... No, you're not afraid, you're just going to do it. So that often leads to stupidity. A rapier versus Jihad is a good matchup, really. I would actually love to see more of like a Dell sword style versus rapier, how the two would compare there, because stylistically those two are so different. He's hooked him on the... But you can just see, like, this guy's, like, shook by that. He's, like, shocked, like, I've never seen someone do that before. So it looks as though these were the opening fight scenes of the films. Hopefully that's not blowing your load too early, because these fight scenes are all so good. You would hope that the rest of the fight scenes throughout the rest are really good. Because that's always the trouble with doing fight scenes early on. If you blow your load too early, then the fight scenes that come later, you're going to be exhausted by them. But then again, if you have loads of really good fight scenes, but they're carefully dotted throughout, like you have 4 fight scenes in the film, but they're carefully dotted throughout the film, then you can have your audience be not so tired or fatigued by the end of the film. I think that's a lot of critique with something like the John Wick films that they had with 3 and 4, that there were too many of those sequences, so you're just exhausted by the end of them. So overall, if I were to... I would watch this film. Should I predict how much I would give this film out of 10? This is all the opening, so I don't know how much the rest of the film would... what the rest of the film would be like. No idea on the plot or anything. I would guess and say it would probably be in the 7 to 8 range. I'd say probably that. I don't want to give it a 10 out of 10 right out the gate, because 10 out of 10 I think has to be on like another level. So... yeah, I think a high average. High average is good. So 7 to 8. So that was Jet Li's Fearless. What did you think of the film? Comment down below your own thoughts on the film, and until next time everyone, peace be with you. Welcome back everyone, and welcome to another reaction video. Where today we are looking at Ip Man 2. Now of course I have made videos on, I made 2 in fact, on Ip Man 1. Oh, and part of my wet hair I was kind of in the rain earlier. Welcome to England. Now as it stands, what I thought of Ip Man 1 was that it was, well thinking back on it, it's a good film. And it's evident why it became a tone setter for the 2000s, in terms of action, in terms of martial arts films. But for me personally, it wasn't my thing. So Ip Man 2. So this time Ip Man is in Hong Kong instead of Foshan, and he's trying to establish himself as a martial arts master there in his own right. So the scene we're going to be looking at today is the scene of where he's challenged by fellow martial artists to earn the place there. Now going right off the bat, where you see all these, this table and all these chairs all stacked around and there's all this challenge stuff. Of course this doesn't happen in real life, at least to my knowledge, when you need to open a school in a new area. It doesn't really happen, but it's true in that there's always an animosity, I've found, when it comes to opening a school in a new area. Because when I started myself, just in my local area, there was a bit of tension with other existing martial arts schools in the area. I won't say who it was with or what have you, because of course that's unprofessional. But I will say there was some unneeded tension. I mean, let's be honest, we're all at the end of the day trying to do the same thing. And I get why the tension exists. It's because there's the thought process of, these are my students, you're going to try and take away my students. No, that's not what it is at all. People can learn different martial arts. We can all learn from each other as well. So, that kind of animosity, it's not needed. But in this case, I think, if you remember the context of the timing of when this takes place, this is probably also keeping the purity of the martial arts at this time, where there's a lot more cultural tension.
And the distinction would be...
Now let's talk about the actual fight scene itself. Master Luo. Master Lo. Lo? Starts with this master. Oops. And what it looks like is that he's doing 7-star praying mantis. It has that northern quality to it. So I'm suspecting it is praying mantis. Plus he's got those visual tics as well, which make him more bug-like. Oh, I find it funny that there was, when he finished the fight, he came just sliding back to his chair. It looked like he had been a bug that was squashed. He was like, ugh. But of course that displays a touch of hubris, because he's like, oh, there were excuses. The floor was slippy, I couldn't, well, it just wasn't my day. The weather, oh, it's, the 5G, standard practice, really. I think his is the shortest fight. But you would think more the offensive sort of style, that would pair with Wing Chun quite well. Well, the problem was that he didn't focus enough on the stance work and keeping a firm routing because the area he's fighting in is so small. So that just led to his own downfall because he was using a lot more aerial attacks. So it became easy prey for Ip Man, especially when he tried to do that high kick. And so it left Ip Man just easily able to sweep his other leg out from under him. It just became easy work. It was probably just a warm-up for him. But then when we get to the second fight scene, still sticking with this Master L, we'll call him that from now on. When it came to Master L, it looked as though at first he had the hubris, because he was like, oh, the floor is slippy, oh, I've got the wrong shoes on, oh, it's just... But then when he talks to the second master, who's about to go up, and he goes, it's like a code for, by the way, stick to your form work. So, what I think that's also demonstrating is that this guy is a competent master, he does know what he's doing, but his hubris got in the way, and that's interesting. It's an interesting detail which just adds back some of that respect to this master who just handed himself an L. Now Master Zhang is a master of Bagua Zhang as it looks. And Bagua Zhang, that's an interesting choice for this context. Bagua Zhang is an evasive style based in defense, a style based in wearing your opponent out by letting them basically overtax themselves. More about sneaking in those strikes rather than using brute force and strength. I know he's a master at it, but this is the wrong context for Bagua Zhang. Sure, Bagua Zhang can work in close ranges, but that works in the context that you can then go onto those wider ranges, and this is not the sort of context where you have the wider ranges. It's close up or it's nothing. So he does better, he performs better because he keeps to firm footing, and they do earn each other's respect as a result, but it's a mismatch of styles. Because one is more based in taking energy or taking your momentum of your attacks and using it against you, whereas Bagua Zhang is all about letting you run out of your own energy. So, actually, when I say it like that, it's sort of the same thing, but one is more offensive while the other is more defensive. So really, they're only mismatched in that they're different in terms of their goals. In terms of the philosophy underlying both of them, they're quite similar. Which is actually an interesting detail. I'm just wondering, actually, if you paired Wing Chun and Bagua Zhang together, you probably have something quite interesting on your hands.
Write that down, write that down!
I think there is even an understanding that this is a bit This isn't a ludicrous context for everyone to find themselves in. They probably wouldn't normally do this. I think what it is that Wing Chun at this time was a lesser known martial art. So they were like, oh, okay, who's this guy? Is this just a mug dojo wasting our time? And last up, it's Sammo Hung. He has a name in the film, but it's just Sammo Hung. See, this is I think what it's probably also hitting is that Sammo Hung's character was probably the one to initiate this whole scenario. He was probably the one that was doing this. He was the one that wanted to really test Ip Man. Maybe he was the one that thought, okay, this guy's just a poser. This isn't actual martial arts. And so, or maybe oh no, because he's the one that later fights the boxer. So, with the context of the time period in mind, he was the one that wanted to maintain the cultural heritage of Chinese martial arts in Hong Kong, or in their area of Hong Kong, and so he was testing to make sure that Wing Chun was a viable substrate of their culture. Ah, I get it now. And everyone's like sitting up like, oh, here we go, we got something here. Okay, so Hung is using Tiger Style. Is that it? I think that is Tiger Style another Northern style? I would suspect it would be, because it is much more offensive, much more use of the kicks. And his character has already sussed out a good strategy. Already. Instead of maintaining your own stance, which is good, it's also necessary to break the stance of the opponent as well. I need to try that kick, actually. It's sort of like a one-handed handstand into a kick. I need to try that at some point. That seems more like a capoeira sort of kick. I need to try that. Well, I've got two things I need to try now. It's clear watching this that the two of them are more equal. It's probably because it's Sammo Hung, but he's one of the rare characters in this franchise to land a hit on Ip Man. As I think, if I remember correctly, in the last fights, in the last film, none of the characters were actually able to land a strike on Ip Man. This is just how dudes earn respect with each other. They're proving themselves to each other, matching each other step for step. Friends for life are these two. In real life, they probably are best friends. I wouldn't even be surprised. Okay, the table breaking apart and they're both landing on it. It's a little bit unrealistic, but you get it. It's martial arts. It's a martial arts film. You accept it. So if I remember correctly, I think that some elements of this fight scene, or some of the elements of the lessons of these fight scenes, come back later when Ip Man is fighting the boxer. Just maybe in a 6-degree sort of way. The whole key strategy was to break the stance of the opponent. That was what Sammo Hung was doing the whole time. And then, one of the key strategies that Ip Man employs later in the film against the boxer is to go against the biceps. So to in a way inhibit the arms, a part of the stance, if you like, of a boxer. Does that make sense? Kind of makes sense, you know. But it also, on a larger level, the whole key to this fight scene is equal respect between these two masters, or these four masters if you like, but really it's against these two, because they're proving themselves to be, despite their differences, that they are equal with each other in terms of skill. And then ultimately they come together as allies, which then leads back to the core theme of this film, about how despite there being differences between countries and between people, we can still come together in face of common goals. Or in this case, if I remember correctly in this film, it was stereotypical racists. But that was Ip Man 2. What did you think of the film? Have you seen it? What did you think about it? And until next time, everyone, peace be with you. Hello and welcome back. Now, full disclosure, this video was originally going to be something completely different, as I was going to make a challenge video, but suffice to say, it kind of crashed and burned. So while I recycle that idea for next year, today I'm going to give myself a little Christmas treat to myself, as we're going to be doing a reaction video, but not to anything martial arts related. Yesterday I watched the 50th anniversary special of Doctor Who again, as this year was of course the 60th anniversary, and well...
You're assuming he as a pronoun?
Yes, we know. We know everything. Thanks. And you know nothing? It's a shame you're not a woman anymore. She'd have understood.
It has been 10 years since the 50th after all. Boy, those were the days. But you know, watching it again yesterday really caused me to have a good think about, well, the past 10 years, I suppose, and how we're going to be moving forwards. And if you want to link it back to martial arts, the Doctor is of course an expert in Venusian Aikido, so... But a scene I really wanted to highlight, and a scene I really wanted to react to, was when the three Doctors actually saved Gallifrey. Because bearing in mind, up to this point in the new era of the show, the New Who era if you will, the Doctor has been under the impression that he was the one that destroyed his home planet.
There isn't anything we can do, right? There isn't another way, there never was.
That in the process of ending the Time War, he was the one that ended his species. But behind the scenes, Stephen Moffat, the head writer of the show at the time, considered that that's not what the Doctor would do. Certainly the Doctor has been in tough scrapes and has had to make difficult decisions, but if it's a choice between genocide and something completely different, the Doctor would never push that sort of button. The Doctor is not that sort of person. He would find a better way.
Then what do I do?
What you've always done. Be a doctor.
I changed my mind.
And in this case, he does. He saves Gallifrey.
This time there's three of us.
It's got to be said also that while David Tennant was present for both anniversary specials, why do I get the feeling that he was trying harder for the 50th?
It's a shame you're not a woman anymore. She'd have understood.
David, I know you're a great actor and you played the Doctor real well, but I mean, for some reason I couldn't feel... For some reason when people kept saying for this anniversary year that Tennant was back and was really putting in his all, I couldn't see it, personally. There's that energy which seems lost.
Oh, I'm getting that too. That is brilliant. I've been thinking about it for centuries.
Perhaps it's from all those times he had to get an emotional pep talk from Donna Noble, an apparent now expert in emotional talking. Apparently it took only one regeneration of an extra X chromosome in order for the Doctor to need emotional support and Haagen-Dazs every 5 minutes.
It's a shame you're not a woman anymore. She'd have understood.
But on to the actual scene where the three Doctors, well not just him but every single Doctor, every regeneration, flies in their TARDISes to save Gallifrey.
Calling the War Council of Gallifrey. This is the Doctor.
You might say, I've been doing this all my lives.
And imagine, you have to imagine this scene from the Daleks' perspective. That suddenly, like, oh, we're just... Hold on, I need to do it in the Dalek voice.
No, you don't.
You could just imagine them go... You could just imagine the panic. One Doctor is emergency level threat. What about all 13?
All 13?
The sight of the eyebrows was enough to cause immediate self-extermination. But this scene exemplifies what the Doctor is about. Hope.
You know the sound the TARDIS makes? That wheezing, groaning. That sound brings hope wherever it goes. To anyone who hears it, Doctor. Anyone. However lost. Even you.
And I believe that is true as well, not just in the world of Doctor Who, but in our world as well. That's what the Doctor represents. Even in the darkest times, when all seems lost, there is always hope. There is always a way to make things right, to make things better. One life at a time, 1 second at a time.
Without hope, without witness, without reward.
And in this case, it's enough to save a world. And in this case, it was enough to undo a wrong 400 years in the making. See, that's what I think has been lost over the years of Doctor Who since this date. Oh, certainly, Peter Capaldi is underrated and he has some brilliant stories. And he certainly exemplified this as well. But Jodie Whittaker's era, I mean, it's been lambasted so often, what else do I need to say? I will say, she probably will be treated in years to come the same way as Colin Baker's era. She'll probably get better treatment with other writers, and chances are she'll be looked back on and become more beloved as time goes on. But as we're entering this new era, I don't know. For some reason I feel as though a new Wilderness Years is on the horizon. It's funny, watching this special, I couldn't help but feel a renewed sense of continuance, of the adventure going on. I was excited to see what would happen next.
Now you must excuse me. Oh, you have a lot to do.
It's taken me so many years, so many lifetimes, but at last I know where I'm going. Where I've always been going. Home. The long way round.
Gallifrey is back in the sky. The Doctor's greatest failure has been undone. More adventures are on the way. And look where we are 10 years later, with the Doctor splicing like an amoeba. So I presume... So of course we'll see more of Ncuti Gatwa and see more of what he has to offer, and I really do hope that he does well as the character. I haven't seen him in anything, so I can't say for certain. But returning back to this special in and of itself, this original idea of the Doctor always finding a better way. How does this relate to us? Why am I talking about it? Well, for one thing, because of the renewed sense of hope. We all need hope every now and again, most especially at a time such as this when, frankly, not everything is as it should be. Times some days feel bleaker than others. But there is one thing that we can keep having. Hope. Belief that things will be better. We all have the ability within ourselves to be better. We all have the ability to do good. One action at a time. One random act of kindness at a time. We don't just sit and wallow and believe that, oh, well, I can't change it, I can't do anything, I might as well just sit here and watch as everything burns around me. No. No. Relates to martial arts as well. Oh, sure, we can learn how to beat people up. We can learn how to decimate people. We can learn how to destroy. But what does that prove? Oh, sure, you can beat a man to a pulp. What does that do, though? Strokes your pride. Congratulations, you beat someone up. Aren't you clever? No. The true course is not to destroy, but to make things better. One step at a time. Not just in martial arts. Not just at work. Not just in a hobby, but in life. By doing something, by opening a door for someone. For offering someone a helpful hand. For being willing to take some time out of your day to make someone else's life better. That is what we're meant to do. In some ways, that is what it means to be the Doctor. Not just the time and space and the travelling, but making things better. Perhaps it's time that we did that too.
Then what do I do?
What you've always done. Be a doctor.
As with that, 2023 is drawn to a close. Join me next time when we are fully integrated into 2024 and see what new adventures await us. But until then, thank you all for watching, and until next time, peace be with you. Welcome back everyone, I'm the teacher, and you know, I don't think I've given Jackie Chan enough of a fair shake so far. Oh, certainly I've talked about some of his films, but for the most part I've only really talked about the later bad ones. I think the only really good one I've talked about to stand out was The Forbidden Kingdom, and that was a co-starring with Jet Li. And let's change that today by going back to the 80s to take a look at some Grade A Chan. Today we're going to react to a scene from Armour of God. I had trouble deciding which scene to look at, but I think this one's a good one. So this one's a real highlight in terms of the stunt work. So let's give it a further look. So here we've got Jackie Chan versus monks. Honestly, not the first thought I would have had. You know, when they've said the modern phrase of letting them cook, I didn't think it referred this far back. What a Minecraft torch looks like. It's not in this scene, but it's worth mentioning that Armour of God featured a very nearly disastrous stunt for Jackie Chan. It was an early scene in the film where, I think if I remember correctly, he was supposed to jump onto a branch, swing off of it to safety from this danger or what have you. First take it went fine, the second take the branch snapped and Chan fell, hitting the back of his head on a rock. Luckily he survived, of course, but it very nearly could have been the end of the Chan man, as it of course caused a major brain bleed. Oh no, cracked his skull. Let's think how quickly these things can go wrong. It's a miracle that Jackie Chan made so many of these films, considering how easily they could go wrong. I mean, just look at this fire stunt that they just did. That could have easily gone wrong as well. The fire could have spread out of control. Any number of things could have gone wrong. It's been a while since I've seen this film, so I'm missing out on the context here, but without context it just looks as though Jackie Chan is just beating up a bunch of monks in a monastery in a cave, and the film is called Armour of God. So is Chan actually the villain in this film, stealing a sacred artifact from some Christian monks? The timing and the rhythm of Jackie Chan's fight scenes are always something to behold. That's an element of Jackie Chan's fight scenes that I would always like to instill into my training. Just the timing and the ability to go from here to here to here to here to kick to... I can't really do it very well in my chair, but you get the point. To go from A to B to Z to Z to all over the place and be able to do that so quickly and be able to keep that up. It's amazing training just for endurance and stamina and being able to think on your feet as much as you're acting. Although, be very careful of your surroundings when you do them. One of the first times I did that, I nearly broke my ankle on a chair. Well, they say that choreographing a fight scene is much like keeping plates spinning, but I don't think it was this literal. Oh, come on, man, just wanted his milk and you're breaking it. Jackie Chan is a menace in this film. He's going after Christian artifacts, he's beating up monks, he's taking away milk jugs, he's setting things on fire, he's spoiling wine. I mean, come on, man. How many takes did that get? How many takes did that require to do that? As that is such a precise stunt. Not only did the guy have to do a backflip after getting hit, but he also had to backflip then onto his knees, onto his shins, and then backflip again onto the floor. Not only abdominal strength, but just the timing and the coordination to do that properly, to make sure he didn't hit his head on the side of the table, or to
or that something didn't go. How many takes did that require? And this is without wires as well. Oh yeah, onto the neck. Oh, that's more traumatizing than a horror film. And it just ends like, dude, we were just praying. But that was Armour of God. Like I say, grade A Jackie Chan. It's been a while since I've seen the whole thing, but just looking at this film out of context, it's clear why Jackie Chan was the man. Let me know in the comments down below what film I should react to next, especially a Jackie Chan film. Definitely want to look at more of his best this year. Be sure to also check out our Patreon for exclusive content as well as to request new video ideas. But that is all for today. Thank you all for watching, and until next time everyone, peace be with you.